Well, we were eventually going to get to this one. This is When Day Breaks, SCP-106. The old man is about to watch the old man yet again. Once again, I draw my namesake from the old man of Armageddon, and not this guy. I'm just saying. SCP Illustrated has done a absolutely marvelous job of bringing us this, along with Dr. Sentiment, and I have nothing but respect for what they are doing. I do want to check out SCP Illustrated's newest video on his first real steps out of the SCP universe. I really want to check that out in the near future. I'm still trying to get caught up on everything, though, guys. You're going to have to forgive me on that. This is SCP When Day Breaks, SCP-106. Now, I'm going to not go through the first part of this only, and I mean only because this has been in previous videos, and it is the actual card. It's the cards from the last episode. So I'm gonna skip over that just because of that. Because if you're watching this on playlist, it's the same thing. But I still recommend those highly. SCP... Oh, God, here we go. I've been waiting for this one. Let's go.
Hell. Viewed by many as the ultimate damnation. These days, however, it offers a new perspective. Salvation. In the ruins of a factory complex, a woman is running for her life. Left turn, right turn, up the stairs, another left. She can hear them. The sound of whispers and slick, wet flesh. She takes another left and is confronted by the rusting shell of an industrial oven. She takes cover inside and pulls the door closed behind her. She flicks on her torch and she prays, hoping her words will fall on receiving ears. The sound of groaning metal and the sizzling of onions hitting hot oil comes from her left. The torch illuminates the walls to reveal a sequence of black letters that have been burned into the wall.
Lovely.
The sun does not shine in hell. Spill your blood. Call for the angel of darkness.
No.
The sound of flesh is drawing closer. Without hesitation, the woman withdraws a lock knife from her pocket and runs the blade across her palm. The hot liquid drops onto the floor beneath her, and she makes her plea through gritted teeth and closed eyes. A moment passes.
Yeah, that's something. Not a good sign.
Passes, and another woman suddenly lifts her chin and looks into her eyes. This woman is dressed in rags with matted hair, aged skin, and yet compassion and empathy seem to radiate from her.
She was an accountant, had a few points on her driving license, still a Twix once on a drunk night out, had a daughter, a husband, and a sister.
The woman paused and stood up.
All of them lost to the light.
The sound of padded feet comes from the darkness her torchlight only partially reaches. A man, also possessing leathery skin and dressed in rags, comes into view. His skin was rotten and uneven, with eyes that barely gave any clue to their existence, except for a slight gleam from the torchlight. In stark contrast, there was no feeling of compassion or empathy from this man, but a lingering feeling of dread and fear. He gave the woman a smile, revealing yellowing teeth. As the flesh pried open the oven door, they were greeted by an empty room with only a flickering torch and a pool of black corrosive fluid to fill its rusting shell.
Huh. This is unusual.
Corporal Lawrence slowly made his way through the trenches, rifle raised, ready to take the life of any German soldier he saw. Corpse after corpse he passed, some fresh from the assault, and some from many days past. The smell of decomposition hung everywhere, and he suppressed a gag. A swarm of rats hurried past his feet. He jumped up from the duckboards to escape them. He turned a corner, and then he saw it. A hole in the ground. He suddenly felt a force from behind, pushing him forward. His blood ran cold. He began to hyperventilate as the hole got closer and closer. The force pushed his head down, and he fell face first into the darkness. SCP-106 awoke with a start. The woman dressed in rags stood over him.
Bad dreams, old man.
SCP-106 reached for her throat in fury.
One hand on me and the deal is off.
He paused for a moment.
You will do well to remember that I freed you from that wretched cell.
Who is
and I
she?
can easily put you right back.
Who is this?
The old man grunted his understanding and stood up. He walked slowly towards the battlements of the fortress he had constructed for himself. Seeing as he would be spending all his days from now on in his own dimension, it served well to make it appear as he saw fit. The woman stood beside him and looked out across the plain. Thousands of pearl-white tombstones stood in formation as far as the eye could see. Each marked a soul they had saved from the light.
I wonder if we've saved more than you've killed.
The woman had come to 106 in the early days of the event. She had offered him freedom in exchange for his cooperation to carry the worthy to his own dimension, to die, and rest in peace. Away from the sunlight. Away from suffering. He knew very little about her, and she did not give much away. She had hinted to a library at some point, but had revealed nothing further.
Serpent's hand?
May I ask you a question?
106 grunted.
Why do you prey on the young? Is there an actual reason, or are you, one of those?
He gave her a judgmental look, followed by a sneer of disgust. He began to construct words. Words did not come easy to the old man. Very few words had left his lips in years, but he did his best.
Did I miss something? Like, let me see here. I need to rewind this back just a little bit. Maybe stop here, look here. The voices. Okay, I didn't miss anything. I haven't missed anything. So who is she?
Did not come easy to the old man. Very few words had left his lips in years, but he did his best.
Fresh meat tastes good. They are energetic. It's more fun.
His tattered vocal cords protested, but he continued.
The old. They are slow. They taste bitter. Why?
We have been summoned by a man, and he has a child.
A crooked smile formed on the old man's face. SCP-106 and the woman stepped out of the wall. Before them sat a very thin man holding a young boy in his arms. The old man took in the residence, a Foundation facility for certain. The faded insignia was still visible on the wall. A bundle of dirty blankets, a variety of opened rations, and a computer in the corner providing the only light in this otherwise dark room. The woman knelt down beside the man and began examining them both.
The boy is sick. Looks like an infection of some kind. He has a fever. There is a fresh cut on his arm. Doesn't look infected. Looks like the dad used his son's blood to call us. Got into a couple of fights at school. Otherwise, he's pure.
106 gave the man a cold look, judging him for cutting his own son to summon them. Coward.
Yeah?
As for the dad, oh my. His soul is as black as the sky is blue. He was a member of the 05 Council.
The old man felt his entire body tense, and his eyes burned a fierce rage that the man recoiled from. A jailer, one of his previous wardens, kneeling before him now, begging for help.
Take the boy.
The woman pulled the boy from the dad's arms as he wept, and disappeared back through the wall she had entered through. SCP-106 knelt down beside the man.
Your boy will be my next meal.
He took the father's head in his hands, causing his skin to bubble and liquefy. Through the man's screams of agony, 106 offered him yet more torment.
Your sin warrants just punishment. Decades of imprisonment.
Oh my
And you
god.
now come to me for aid.
This is the first... I didn't even think the old man could speak. And to get his hands on a member of the 05? I'm not sure... Oh, no.
How many did you sacrifice to keep me inside that box? How much blood is on your hands? You will suffer as I suffered. You wanted salvation. I will give you salvation.
No thanks, bro.
SCP-106 stood back and surveyed the scene. The council member had been strung up with wire between two posts. True to his word, the old man had subjected the man to the same fate as he himself had endured in that box. Eyes, nose, tongue, ears and hands had all been removed. The man would experience no sensation other than the pain and the isolation, and here he would stay, locked in eternal undying, a monument. Satisfied, SCP-106 turned his back and walked through the endless wasteland of tombstones back to his fortress. He was hungry, and a fresh meal awaited him.
What?
He glanced to his right and sighed in mild annoyance to see the woman walking with him.
So, tell me, Corporal.
She began, but he quickly turned on her.
No more.
That was your title once, was it not? I read your file.
He ignored her and continued walking.
A late volunteer, an outcast among your comrades, reports of strange behavior and something about a hole in the ground?
106 continued to ignore her and focused on the satisfaction he would obtain from the upcoming feast.
Why did you join? What made you volunteer? What made you fight?
She cut him off, and her right hand lowered and rested on the tattered clothing that covered his genitalia.
Was it for love?
What?
She asked softly. He moved away from her. The impertinence of her questions was starting to make his blood boil. Rage began to cloud his mind, and his fingernails began to cut into his palm as he clenched his fists in an attempt to contain his anger.
Was it for glory then? Or did you just want to indulge in your obsession of causing pain and suffering?
I did it for me. I had nothing else.
He roared back at her, spraying her with spit and foul breath. He took a few deep breaths before continuing.
Life was mundane, predictable. War, though, it gave my life texture.
Huh.
And the hole? What was...
The woman began, but her words were cut short by a sudden brightness coming from the horizon.
Oh no.
The sun was shining down on 106's dimension. The old man was momentarily stunned by the boldness of such an action. In an instant, they were both there, walking towards the beams of light. All around them, the graves of the fallen were...
This adds a depth to the old man's character. It really, really does. I'd love to hear more about the person that he was. But that's one of the great things about SCP, is the fact that you don't know what you don't know defines SCP, not what you do know. What you don't know defines it more than anything that you could know. And stories like this only add to it. And this is one of the reasons I love 40K as well. Because a lot of 40K lore is defined by single lines of text. One of the biggest mysteries in 40K is the Blood Raven's gene father. And we find out through little lines of text in certain stories. Anyway, continuing on. I'm not going to keep on going on that.
Stirring, the mud was shifting. The woman offered them words of hope, telling them to stay calm and to rest. SCP-106 stepped forward into the sunlight and looked up at the giant.
You do not belong here. Leave. Now.
Defiant, however, the sun remained.
This world is mine. It bends to my will.
106 raised his hand and formed a gesture as if to flick the sun from the sky.
Your corruption has no power here, or over me. For I was made in darkness, and this realm belongs to it.
He flicked his finger forward, and the sun hurtled away into the void, plunging his world back into darkness.
Just how powerful is
The
he?
ground once more grew still, as the fallen resumed their slumber. In the depths of Site-46, Dr. Logan Igota sat in the corner of her room, vomiting up the pills she had just swallowed. A last-ditch attempt to finally end her suffering, and she couldn't even manage that. The orange hue of the emergency light lit up some words that had just formed on the wall. It took a few passes before she could put it all together, but it read, "The sun does not shine in hell. Spill your blood, and call for the Angel of Darkness." Maybe, just maybe, this could provide her with some peace. She looked over to the corner of the room and winced as she saw the fleshy apparition of Ari she had conjured during the ritual only a few days prior. It was just stood there, looking at her, not moving.
I love this callback to the first entry into this.
She picked up the same knife she had previously used and
love
ran it
this
for a
callback.
second time across her hand. She smeared fresh blood across the letters and whispered the words. The woman rushed forward and held Igota in her arms.
Oh, my dear. Even the ether could not soften your cries. Be still now. We will help you.
The old man, however, had ignored Igota, more interested in the creature in the corner. He walked over to it. He observed it. He studied it.
It's a recreation of the love she lost.
The woman spoke, while Igota cried into her rags. SCP-106 waved his hand, opening a portal beneath it. The creature fell out of sight with a shriek. Igota wailed fresh tears.
Why?
The woman asked.
A mercy for both.
He replied,
Wow.
turning to face Igota.
My dear, you must choose. You might find her again, but it will be in eternal torture. Or you can come with us and find peace.
Igota looked up between them both, and over to where Ari once was. SCP-106 injected his own words.
The voice was not hers. It was your weakness. You heard only what you wanted to hear.
Igota looked up to the woman, and with a
I'm actually surprised. I'm actually surprised they went this way with this SCP. I was expecting something a lot darker, but this is strangely refreshing.
With a very weak smile, she nodded. With that nod, both the women disappeared through the floor.
Huh.
The old man took a moment to look around the office. He saw the computer with a list of compiled data logs on them. Would anyone ever see them, he thought? Probably not. He cracked open the door and entered the hallway. The old man walked through the derelict halls of Site-46. Despite his own feelings towards humanity as a whole, it was a melancholy experience. Seeing all the empty cells, the equipment gathering dust, the lack of anyone. He made his way to the entrance, leaving a slick trail behind, not bothering to close the doors behind him. It hardly mattered anymore. Stepping outside, he bathed in the sunlight and smiled, for he was the Angel of Darkness, and the light could not harm him. He raised his hand to the sun and created the same flicking gesture and gave a long, deep laugh as the sun dropped down below the horizon. And that concludes this entry. I wrote this one myself, so I really hope you enjoyed it.
That added a whole depth to the old man's character that I did not see coming. I did not see this even being a possibility, to be honest with you. I just didn't see it being a possibility. It's a completely different way of looking at a very established SCP. What would it do? Who is that woman? Who is she? So, this character is obviously extremely powerful. To be able to get him to basically do what she wants, or at the very least do something against his, better nature. Well, not his better nature, his worse nature, actually. Better nature, my ass. Who is she? I love what they did. I love what he did with him in this. He took the character of the old man and gave him a purpose other than being an absolute horror show. There's still something in him, even though it's twisted and wrong. I love the fact that he gave him so much depth in this. Guys, this is just, I absolutely love it. I have enjoyed this series since the first time I saw it. It was one of the first. The opening to this was one in the first series of videos I saw on SCP lore in and of itself. And I have liked it ever since. When I have recommended SCP lore to people, every time I watch, I recommend 3 channels for SCP. The Vulcan, the Exploring series, and this one. And I know that he's still doing this series. And I can't wait to catch up to where he is and just be one of those people that's sitting there excited waiting. Because right now I'm playing catch up, and it takes guys, you have no idea. It does take a bit to catch up on stuff. But until next time, guys, the SCP Illustrated has decided to move away from SCP content and explore other content. And I am massively supportive of this. Check out his newest video. He released it a few days ago. Join him on this journey, because no matter where he goes, it's going to be good. It's kind of strange that in the past few days, both the Exploring series and SCP Illustrated have both announced that they're going to be moving away from SCP and into other areas. And at the same time they're doing that, I'm moving in. Kind of strange, isn't it? But at the same time, I know I'm not as prolific as they are. It's just the nature of, them. Like, I don't have, nearly the time that I wish I had. But I'm forcing it. So, guys, the script for my first SCP video is actually done. And I am going to be recording that soon. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to at the Vulcan, I'm going to at SCP Illustrated and the Exploring series on that first foray into this new territory for myself. And it might very well be the first lore video I put out on the new channel. In any case, thank you guys for watching. Check out SCP's Illustrated's links down below, and check out his new video. I think it's on Half-Life. Either Half-Life or... No, it's not Half-Life. I'm an idiot. Is it Half-Life? No, it's not Half-Life. I think it's, oh god. The Last of Us? it might be on that. Until then, if you'd like to support the channel, I have Patreon down below, and there's merch by Valve. And I'll catch you guys next time. I didn't expect this, and it was welcome.